ChatGerry, using Topology tool for investigating risks of CVD and CKD, number 1544, VPT 097, February 21, 2026, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation, category CVD, CKD and Metabolic Systems. Preface, seeing health as a long movie, this study did not come from a hospital database, a short clinical trial, or a grant proposal. It came from my daily effort to survive 9 mortality-related disease events, including 5 heart attacks and 1 episode of kidney failure over the long period from 1994 through 2014. Through this long and painful process, I gradually learned how my body responds, deteriorates, and adapts over time. For 17 years, since 2010, I recorded my body weight, glucose, and the calculated risks related to my heart and kidneys while keeping my lifestyle strategy as consistent as possible. This created a continuous movie of my metabolic life instead of fragmented laboratory test reports taken at separate points in time. Most medical decisions are made by checking whether a single number is above or below a target line. This method is useful for acute care, but it cannot explain how a disease develops, progresses, deteriorates, improves, or stabilizes over many years. A single value is only a snapshot, whereas a long sequence reveals the direction of the entire system. When we see the trajectory, we begin to understand the real behavior of the body. A movie tells the full story, while a photo captures only a moment and leaves the rest to guesswork. 2 organs under the same long-term load, cardiovascular disease CVD and chronic kidney disease CKD, are usually discussed as separate diagnoses. But in daily life they are exposed to the same metabolic environment. In this study, body mass index BMI represents the long-term burden from obesity and estimated average glucose. EC represents the long-term burden from diabetes. These 2 lifestyle-related biomarkers act as the main inputs, while the risks for heart disease and kidney disease represent the outputs of the organ systems. When these 4 variables are connected year by year, they form 2 continuous pathways. These pathways show whether the system is moving toward damage or toward recovery. The question is no longer whether a number is high or low at a single moment, but whether the whole structure is drifting toward stability or toward deterioration. What topology means for patients. Topology, a theoretical branch of mathematics, is a method for describing how geometric shape changes over time. The human body is a many-dimensional system influenced by many factors. To make the direction of disease visible, I project the system onto 3 dominant forces, 1 organ response, and the 2 strongest lifestyle-related biomarker loads. Each year becomes 1 point. And when these points are connected in chronological order, they form a light trajectory. This geometric trajectory reveals the true story of our health. The direction of the path shows improvement or deterioration. The curvature shows when the body shifts from one physiological phase to another. The distance traveled represents the magnitude of change, that is, how much real structural remodeling has taken place. In this way, numbers are transformed into a visible story through geometry and graphical representation. The main findings: a shrinking metabolic load. The radar chart provides the most direct and powerful picture. From 2010 to 2026, the total metabolic organ energy generated by body weight BMI, glucose EC, heart risk CVD, and kidney risk CKD underwent a profound contraction. The total energy area decreased by 99.6%. This means that the combined long-term stress applied to my heart and my kidneys became dramatically smaller over time. In structural terms, the load on the system was progressively removed. The 2 3-dimensional scattering diagrams tell the same story in a different way. Both the heart risk pathway and the kidney risk pathway start in the upper right region, which represents a metabolic load and high disease risk. Year by year, the data points move smoothly toward the lower left region, which represents a low load and stable state. These are long, continuous, and directional paths. They are not short-term fluctuations. This confirms that the changes were not temporary improvements but true structural remodeling of the body. The heart and the kidney, however, did not begin from the same starting point in time. My heart reached its most dangerous condition much earlier, in 2004. At the time of my 5th cardiac event, the heart risk was already at 100%. By 2010 it had partially recovered to about 70%. And then it continued to decline steadily to 37% by 2026. The kidney followed a later and more severe timeline. It remained at its worst level, 100%, in 2010 when kidney failure first appeared. From that point forward, it gradually declined to 39% by 2026. If we only look at the start and end values, the kidney appears to have improved much more. Its total reduction is 61%, compared with 33% for the heart. But this simple subtraction does not describe the real recovery process, because it ignores the worst years and the step-by-step remodeling efforts that occurred every year. Trajectory length measures the entire journey, not just the distance between the beginning and the end. It adds up every small annual change along the path. When recovery is viewed in this time-dependent way, the kidney pathway is only 2.4% longer than the heart pathway during the period from 2010 to 2026. This reveals the true physiological meaning. The heart started its repair earlier and had already completed part of its recovery before 2010. The kidney started later and from a more damaged condition, so its percentage drop looks larger, but over the full 17-year period, both organs traveled almost the same long distance toward the same stable low-risk state. In simple terms, the timing was different, the starting damage was different, but the long-term remodeling effort of the two organs was nearly the same. The turning point, when fast recovery becomes stable protection. Both organ systems show a clear transition between 2014 and 2016. Before this period, the annual movement was large, which means the body was in a rapid repair phase. As the metabolic load decreased, blood vessels were exposed to less pressure, kidney filtration stress was reduced, and inflammation gradually subsided. During this stage, the body still had strong functional reversibility. After this turning point, the annual movement became much smaller. This does not mean that improvement stopped. It means the system had already entered a low load, stable state. Most of the reversible damage had been corrected, and the remaining changes represent slow structural remodeling that provides long-term protection. Stability replaced rapid change. Why the geometric method is used. All essential medical information in this study can be seen directly from the geometric plots. The total energy of the system, the balance among the variables, the direction or recovery, and the location of the turning point are immediately visible. More abstract mathematical transformations, such as eigenvalues and eigenvectors of PC model, can rearrange the data, but they also separate the axes from real biomedical meaning. My objective is not to increase mathematical complexity but to make the long-term behavior of the human body observable and medically understandable for both patients and clinicians. Clinical meaning. The direction of the movie determines the future. The most important message for patients is that organ protection does not come from chasing perfect laboratory numbers. It comes from maintaining a low metabolic load for many years. In my own case, the trajectories for both heart and kidney risk continued to move toward the stable region from age 63 to age 79. Even after 5 cardiovascular events, neuropathy, retinopathy, chronic kidney disease, and a hemorrhagic stroke, the past damage could not be erased. But the direction of the future path had already changed. These are the reasons why my heart and kidney have had no further acute events after 2010 for more than 17 years. This continuous movie matters far more than a series of snapshots because it tells me whether my body is becoming more fragile or more stable. Conclusion: my body is a time-dependent and path-dependent structure. This 17-year topological study shows that both cardiovascular and kidney risks follow a continuous geometric path determined by long-term metabolic load, the 99.6% geometric area contraction of total system energy, the long recovery trajectories, and the turning point between 2014 and 2016 all indicate that sustained load reduction can move the body in a durable low-risk state. The body behaves like both a time-dependent and path-dependent structure. Risk comes from cumulative load. Protection comes from keeping that load low over time. Past injury cannot be totally removed, but the future trajectory can still be redirected toward health, stability, and longer life. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.